So I'm wired as a pretty high capacity, definitely extroverted people person. And I have a lot of ideas and generally am pretty good at implementing those ideas. And so it's really easy for me to get carried away with myself or carried away with my time and with my schedule. And depending on the week, or depending on especially what's going on at home with my kids, or even the ministry task that God has given my husband, it can just be too much. And so a number of years ago, I kind of hit this wall where I really burnt out, and realized things needed to change. And so that's when I first started to practice some of the spiritual disciplines and started to become aware of what was happening inside my mind and inside my heart as I was doing this work of ministry. But I was doing it out of a love for God, but from my own strength, I think. And sometimes out of a feeling of obligation of, if not me, then who will do this sort of thing. And slowly the Lord took me into a journey of practicing enjoying Him and appreciating slowness and moments of being fully present. God has taught me, especially through my time with LTI, to really lean into this idea of being present to where God currently is and how He is currently moving in me. And one of the biggest things that I have learned through my time at LTI and through my different studies and reading is that the pace that I am able to move at and the capacity I have is not necessarily the pace that God is inviting me to move at, or the capacity that God is inviting me to operate out of. And so I've had to, and I'm continuing to learn in sitting before the Lord to intentionally slow myself down, because I don't want to miss the work that God is doing or how He is present in my life or in the lives around me, because I'm so busy doing the next thing. And there's a tremendous amount of freedom that comes when you realize, like, my gift to offer this person is just my presence. I don't have to work to think of something to say. I don't have to fill the silence, but I want to honor them and I want to honor their story through hearing it and silently just holding them before the Lord as they are sharing and testifying to how God is working and moving in their own lives. So I think even that has taught me the practice of slowing down and being present. And those two things go hand in hand. I think, especially in our culture in the United States, we're just such hurried people going from one thing to the next. And so it's an act of resistance to slow down and to be single-mindedly present. And I understand that it's an act of resistance. It's not natural to me, and it's not necessarily accepted in our worldly culture, but it's part of what Jesus offered to people. And so I want to offer that to people as well, as someone who is representing Christ on this earth. If I were to summarize everything I've experienced or everything I've learned in my time at LTI, I think it would be that God is just greater and more beautiful than I can ever comprehend. And I am more beloved than I could even imagine. And that as I am comfortable and grow in receiving that belovedness, not only in the managed and cultivated spaces of my heart and my life, but also in the wilderness, in those wild, uncultivated spaces, I find greater and fuller freedom and peace in being beloved. And all of that flows out of me as I continue to live out of the ministry tasks of leadership and discipleship that God has gifted me with here where I am now.